West Oxfordshire, home to Prime Ministers and second home to flocks of the British establishment. They live in the north of the constituency, deep in the leafy Cotswold countryside. They're served by a railway, single track to be sure, but allowing access to Oxford and London. In the south, with no railway, is Witney, the constituency's urban hub. Not Cotswolds, not Oxford. Once renowned for its woolen mills and blankets, Witney now struggles to find a meaningful role, something more than the core of a vast housing estate stretching 15 miles along the A40 corridor from Carterton in the west to Aynsham in the east. But the A40 is not a corridor at all, and hasn't been since the 1970s, when Oxford County Council first declared it unfit for the region's transport needs. Half a century later, the A40 is still a single carriageway and the transport problem is chronic. 32,000 vehicles use the A40 every day. There is only one realistic road alternative to the A40 between Carterton and Oxford, and that passes over a privately owned 18th century toll bridge. Inevitably there are jams, but the real problem is that traffic on the A40 is well past saturation point. Even the smallest interruption can lead to immense delays. So why not make a dual carriageway of the A40? Because demand is now so great that either fewer vehicles or more road would immediately attract yet more vehicles. Even buses on bus lanes would increase total vehicle use. Consider the 10,000 houses already planned for Witney and Aynsham alone. Developments include such absurdities as the Aynsham Science Park and the Cotswold Garden Village, 2,200 dwellings in what's supposed to be an entirely separate settlement, but which will actually be just the width of the A40 from the existing Aynsham. Our planning system is broken. Housing is the responsibility of the District Council, which expects housing developers to provide necessary infrastructure to accompany the housing. They seldom do. Transport, on the other hand, is the responsibility of the County Council, which hopes to receive grants from the District Council's housing developments to pay for it. Every part of what the County Council is pleased to call a plan for the A40 is contingent on a separate funding source over which the County Council has no control. The result of this lottery is a roundabout here, new traffic lights there, a bit of bus lane last year, a cycle path next. This uncoordinated, piecemeal approach to transport provision is expensive, inefficient, and often counterproductive. Founded in 2013 with the help of Rail Future, Witney Oxford Transport Group is a cross-party organisation consisting of people from many backgrounds, all convinced that a bigger A40 can never provide the transport infrastructure West Oxfordshire desperately needs. The only solution to an otherwise intractable problem is complementing the A40 with a new railway. Before the beaching cuts of the 1960s, there was a railway from Oxford to Witney and beyond. Relaying the old track is not practical. A new line makes more sense and has been thoroughly costed by the Council's consultants. In Phase 1, the new railway would branch off from the Cotswold line at Hanborough Station and carry on to the proposed Park and Ride at Aynsham. Phase 2 would stretch from Aynsham to the south of Witney with a station at Ducklington. Phase 3 would see the continuation of the line to Carterton. A spur line would serve the urgent transport needs of the RAF base at Brize Norton, which has become the transport command centre for the whole country. Oxford is an international city, visited by millions of international tourists. But for most of the residents of West Oxfordshire, Oxford is virtually inaccessible. New railways are being built elsewhere in Britain. They're succeeding. One example is the Borders Railway running from Edinburgh to the Scottish borders, the first new rail infrastructure to be built in Scotland for a century. Without a railway, West Oxfordshire faces a dismal economic and social future. Until local government has a better grip on this problem, the Witney Oxford Transport Group will continue pressing as hard as it possibly can for the railway solution.